Hi everyone. This video goes along with the newsletter and Introduction to Writing Supports for Students. First, I'm going to show you the helpful links that's included with every newsletter, and then we'll dive right into a document that has a plethora of tools that help support students. Ready? Let's go. So this is the newsletter, but I wanted to, for us to focus on this helpful link section first. This will be in every newsletter, and the first link in that section will be the recorded training. So make sure you click on that. The second link is the checklist or the assignment for sketches. So if you are getting sketches or if you want to get sketches, you can click here and fill out a short form that will help you apply for sketches for this. And each newsletter is worth one sketch. And this sharing space, this is a kind of a neat place. It's called a Padlet. But what's nice is that you will be able to not only learn from the newsletter, but learn from other people who are also doing the newsletter. So this is just kind of like a blackboard or a place to put stickers or sticky notes for showing what you have learned by taking this, any new information you know, or stuff that you're already doing that you would like to share with others. So it's a great sharing space for everyone who's taking it. And then, of course, there's a link to all of the newsletters. So let's just dive into the content here. I'm going to go to this section and click on the Writing Supports for Students document. And this document was created by two OTs and myself. The OTs are Cami Williams from Wayland and Shelley Borman from Allegan. And so we created this so that it kind of goes from low tech to high tech. And excuse me while I skim through here so you can kind of see. I don't mean to give anyone a seizure here. And low tech to high tech. And then, but also we've kind of arranged it into by age ranges, elementary, middle school, and high school. But don't get hung up on those ages because there are some elementary students that are using higher tech stuff, and there's some middle school, high school students that are really need support with some of this lower tech stuff. But it's just kind of a range, a guideline, I guess. All right, so the first area on the writing supports document is for positioning. So it's really important to consider the position that you have the kids in when they're trying to write. And so to demonstrate the importance of positioning, let's look at this visual. This is the Spanish version. If I just kind of scroll down, there's the English version. And this shows you the 90-90 rule, where the hips need to be at 90 degrees, the knees and the feet. It's really important for our proximal self or our middle self to be stable in order for our hands to do our best and most precise work. So always remember to look at the kids' feet. Are they dangling? And if so, what can you put underneath to help them be more stable? How can you sit the student in a position that's going to help them write the best that they can write? Okay, so let's go back. So the next thing on the document is flexible seating. For the times when you are more worried about keeping the students in the seat, they may have a lot of energy and they may need to move in order to focus their bodies. But for those students, check out all the flexible seating or alternative seatings. And going back to the document, there's also a free kind of do-it-yourself bouncy bands. So this gives directions on how to make put some type of rubber. They give you some suggestions on, and then tying it to the table or the chair legs so that students can still kind of sit in their seat but still have some movement. And then we'll show this. Of course, you guys will go over all of this, anything that you'd want. But let's show this quick classroom tip. Here's a super duper handy handout. So Cami, our OT from Wayland, really likes this document, and she likes it because it reminds us to warm up for writing. And it's not just for students who have low tone or low strength in their hands, but it's for those busybody kids that need some activity and movement before centering and sitting down and working. And so just remember to do some large muscle things, but also some fine motor for the fingers. And there's even some more suggestions. Remember that 90% rule. So you can check that document out. And so this next section is about writing utensils. So we can look at pencil grips. Here's some from TheraPro. And you can see all kinds here. It's a great website. TheraPro, and it has lots of different options, but these are just some things to consider with different kids. What type of pen or pencil do they like or do they prefer to use? Some of the kids are going to write heavy, and some are going to write with too little pressure. So there's different options for all those things. And so here you could see there's some weighted pencils and pens because sometimes students need a little bit more pressure. It kind of gives them feedback to their muscles that are in their hands, and it just helps them be a neater writer. So if we go back here to the pencil grips document, it just again has a lot of different options, and Cami also likes this crossover grip here. She likes to use that, and if you're looking at it on Amazon, it's called Stetro. But again, student preference is very helpful when it comes to these tools, because sometimes you're going to have kids that are not motivated to write. But if they have a pink crossover grip that they can use in their pencil or some other type of adaptation, then maybe they will have that motivation to write. The goal is to get the kid in the tripod grip. That's what they need to write. But if they have a preference, any tool that will kind of get them there, then that's what we want. So make sure you check through all of those different pencil grips. So the next section is on adapted paper. Sometimes you've tried the things kind of above and they weren't quite working. Maybe you need some adapted paper. So this would be like for students who they might have some vision issues. Their eyes don't team well together. Maybe it's undiagnosed. Maybe they have learning difficulties. They're just plain messy writers. You need to help them stay within the lines or support them. And so there's tons of different writing papers. And this is where you'll find some commercially made options. I'll just kind of bop here. You can see where you can purchase some. But what's really great are these free printables. So for example, this highlighted baseline paper, that's totally free. And let's see, I found one called Skywriter and Dirt Digger. This is on Teacher Pay Teacher. But here the OT says that for the letters that go high into the blue sky and the letters that go below the ground are dirt diggers. So the student starts in the green level with writing their letters, and then if they know that it goes high in the sky, it goes up to the blue. They know it goes low, it's a dirt digger. Again, a free thing to print out, might be great for some younger students. Okay, so let's jump to Woo Tape and Legiliner. These are ones that you have to purchase. But this Woo Tape is kind of what it says. It's a roll of tape that makes you go, woo. No. So when you roll out the tape, it has the guidelines, the writing lines on there. So, and there's different sizes, but let me scroll down here so you can see how you might be having a document, a handout, and it doesn't have those guidelines, but with Woo Tape, you can put the tape on there, and now the student is able to kind of wrangles in the messiness. So that is Woo Tape. Again, another quick example. And then also we have Legiliner. So Legiliner is a rolling stamp, actually, that will roll the lines on any just about any paper. So let's watch this video so you can see all the different ways that they've used it. So you get the idea. And so my only, it's not a complaint, but Woo Tape needs a cool video is what I'm saying. So Legiliner is all fun and sexy, and Woo Tape is, wah, wah, here's some tape. But anyway, both are great. And make sure you try those out if you have some really sloppy handwriters and you want to keep them in certain lines. And certainly colored paper, make sure you go over all of these things. We're just kind of highlighting a few. All right, the next section has several options for spacing. So if the student's issue is spacing within or between words, there are some good ideas and some free printables and free paper there. And then there's the worksheet maker, where you can make your own worksheets and get students to write in the lines. So here's a worksheet, and instead of this instruction box, I can put, make it be a practice for handwriting. And so I'm going to have them have me practice writing my name. I'm just going to put a space in between each letter so they have a little bit more room. And then I can just add another handwriting line, and that kind of gives them some lines that they can now practice writing. And now hopping back to the writing sports document, the last section we're going to talk about for this newsletter is letter formation. There are several apps. So if your school is an iDevice school, if you guys have iPads, these are several different apps to teach and reteach letter formation. Maybe the student has some bad habits that you want to try and break. So these are several apps that OTs have had great success with, and the students just love them and they gravitate towards them. Some of them have free versions that you can try a few letters before you can buy the whole version. But keep in mind, even if your school isn't using iPads, there may be some iPads around that you can use, or perhaps parents at home have an iPad that some of these apps might be good for. Okay, so the rest of this document is, again, for some other newsletters. For example, in March, we have a newsletter that's focusing on longer writing assignments. So we'll be looking at pre-writing and proofreading and graphic organizers. And the next newsletter, we'll be talking about speech to text. Make sure that you look at the rest of this newsletter. Not only do we have this, the writing sports document, but we pulled out some pretty good things about making your own raised line paper and the slant board, some tips from OTs to make sure that you rely on your OT to help with those pencil grips and other tools. And of course, to continue the conversation. Anytime that you have questions about the newsletter, make sure you get in touch and we'll get back with you right away. So take care. See you for the next newsletter.